we were away, I was looking at this, and his hands is a pretty bad hand, but I've got it to where fingers are doing some movements that are okay, but I don't like that. I added a couple more weights onto this belt to give it some balance here and there. I added a couple other different type of horns on the headdress just to balance against this bat thing, dragon thing on her. So, with all that, we can start inking. And for this, I will be using the brush Totally. And we'll see how the line looks. So what I'll do is lay in some pretty big blacks just to get some of the ink off. And I know where some of this stuff is already in my head. I go, like I said, this will be going black. So let's try some nice wisping movements. And let's get this top part. Let's just get a feel for what we're doing with some outline. Feel how the brush is going. Watch the tip. See what it's doing. Sometimes I get brushes that the tip gets screwed up and it gets a little too bulky and starts to split. So you gotta kind of play with it or get rid of it. And now I'm starting to round things out as I'm inking. Should we do the crappy hand? Let's do the crappy hand. Get it out of the way. And let's delicately do bone by bone here. See, it's a little long, but it's a sketch. Get the cloth in there. You got these ridges where it's going to fall into. We got the palm. Knuckles. This is where I think it needs it. That needed to pull out. See that little bump? That was hurting it. That seems to make it look a little bit better. And then we'll bring that finger down. We'll bring this finger out. And then we'll try to make this nice and delicate. It looks like I'm trying to round this out and get it in a little bit better form. It seems like a big chunk of man hand here, and I don't like that. But I might have to leave it just because it's a sketch. Better luck next time. Alright, let's get the jewelry. And as I sweep, I'm thinking of thicknesses away from thicknesses on the bottom, keeping it more thinner on top. Thinner, thicker. And I'm trying to watch how much pressure I got to give onto the brush to get these lines. So I'm just watching the tip, watching how it feels. If I feel like I need to thicken up weights of the line or fix them, I'll go back in and fix them. And then we're going to have a little bit of this wrist come in here. And then a little bit of the wrist again, but the muscle comes out. We're going to make a little bit of a texture on these bulbs. And I can see that my brush is getting a little bit dry on the tip, so I'm using that to get a little texture, which kind of makes it look okay. And then we'll try to get this little design. And the neat thing about sketching with a brush is that you can learn it while sketching, and you don't have to, like, again, totally beat yourself up about, wow, did I get that right? Because if I was doing a regular drawing, I would very much be slowing down and just making sure that the line work was nice. But this is a speed test, and that's what sketching is. Now, what I'm doing here is laying in some black. I'm starting to do like little white area opens to maybe bring in some texture within the dark. Let's see if that might work, and if it does, I'll keep it, and if it doesn't, I'll get rid of it. A couple folds. And let's get the bicep muscle. I need to find an area of black where I can twist my brush tip and get it nice and tight, so I can do this feathering. And then bring it in, get some really nice little delicate feathering. Bring it back to a line. Now if you notice, this isn't straight line, straight across. What I'm doing is, I see an edge here, so I'm bringing the line work a little toward in the edge. I see a lot of people drawings that when they use this, if this was ink, they flatten the line work. Whereas what I'll do is I'll go, okay, this is moving this way, so I'll kind of more go with the contour of the body, so it doesn't flatten it out, it's moving it. And this is longer lines. Okay, that's good enough. That hand still stinks. Let's put a ring right here because I have a tough time looking at this area right there. The ring gives it a little bit weight now, and an object to breaking that crappy hand up. Alright, let's get the draggy. Again, trying to do thin on top, thicker as it goes underneath. And then I'm going to create a little shadow there, a little shadow there. And this is a little tough, and again, I'm not being totally exact, but this is a good area for control with a brush. You can see how you can get into something real tiny and just use that tip. Just for you people that know me, I'm going to put a dragon penis right here. Just for you. You won't think it, but it's there. And we got the ridge. And this is a good practice in control. And weights. Again, we're going to push it down, bring it in, push it down, just a little bit to get some thickness in there. Might want to make this a little bit thicker there, a little bit thicker over here. And give it some, again, you're starting to see the breakup of the brush tip. So I'm going to try to use that in certain respects, unless I can control it. I don't know what the fuck that was. Alright, let's get the ridge. Nice long smooth line. little shaky, but not bad. Again, here's that stress point of her chin. I'll cut in the neck here and get some line work of the muscle, neck muscle going up. Okay. Not terrible. Just getting some good heavies to make this, give it some weight. Let's get that part, the headdress. Earring. Now again, we only got a certain amount of time you want to do these with. I'm not going to spend all day on this thing, so I only got about an hour, half hour to ink this. So you gotta get all your details in. Ugh. See if we can fix that up a little bit, but it's part of the sketch. I'm not going to beat myself up with that. Well, I guess while I'm here we can get into the face. The eyebrow. Let's give her some eyelash. If you want to see some really cool, an artist that does eyelashes, it's Joe Kubert on women. Real heavy lashes. It's really a fun thing to study. Get that eye in there. Get the eyelid on this side. Eyebrow. Maybe a little bit of this just to suggest it in there. Get into the nose. And I bring a little ball right here. Cut into the nostril. War paint. See how that line goes across the chin, goes over the nose. Comes not the chin, the cheek. Goes across the cheek again. So I'm not doing it just as a straight line. I'm trying to keep to the contour of the face, so it gives it a rhythm going across there. I will make it heavy, so I'll keep a little bit of a line to separate that nose ridge. This will add as a nice little counterbalance to what the cape will look like. And her hair. Her hair will be pretty black. I'll spin it. Get some spittle in her teeth. Get some contour lines on her lip. A couple gum lines. Contour. Very delicate. Alright, let's get some of these in here, this necklace, just to give me some weights around this. I'm going to start getting into the hair here. And you see how that is? I don't really give a shit. It's a sketch. I wish I could get that round on the first take, but if I can't, better luck next time. The weird thing I've noticed that when I ink, there's a breathing motion that I go through, that I hold my breath, and I'll sit there and just ink, and then I'll come back and breathe. Like right now, I'm kind of holding my breath there, and when I do that line, I'm kind of holding my breath. Let's get that line pretty good. Again, this is speed test. It's not accuracy test. Chunked it there. But oh well. Okay, let's get these bones in here. Now the bones I can kind of bounce, give it some rhythm, so it's not just one straight line around it. And this is basically a practice in what is the brush showing me when I bounce it. Even though it's for an object here, I'm seeing what it does as it bounces, and maybe some other place I can go, wow, that's, you know, I'm learning what some of this can do. But this is a good little area to have control and speed. And if you worry about it too much, you won't finish it, and the whole point of it is to finish it. And again, better luck next time. This is a bigger chunk. Oh yeah, I forgot. Alright, that one was supposed to fall into it, so let's do that. Use that one for put some shading. Like when I'm sketching at a convention, I'm only charging a certain amount, and so that certain amount gets, I make it just like that's what you get. So it's not like you're spending, you know, thousands of dollars and I'm just chunking something out. The amount is, I think, a practice payment that you get an original, but I don't have to really worry about it. You know, that it wasn't perfect because, you know, it's only a certain amount of money. Alright, let's get some of this arm first, and then I'll get into the hair. And that line right there, that's a Vigil line. That it kind of snapped out and wasn't really forming. That's style. And that's just, you know, that's the way it went. And I can smoothen these out a little bit more. A little snap. I do that all the time. I lift. It's a quick snap. And try to get that line. I'll bring that down. Whoops. And we'll try to break that in real nice and easy. So there's. I'm gonna get this hand. Okay, this is the thumb. And so the thumb's gonna, getting a little break up there. Let me go ahead and twist this and get that flattened out. Palm, and a couple lines in there. This finger got a little screwed up. Now I'm going to try to fix it as I'm inking, which I would not do on a regular picture. I would have worked that out with pencil. If I would have been inking and I came to that, I would have stopped inking, redrew it. But here, I'm practicing, so hopefully when I actually draw, I got a better sense of it because I fixed it with a brush and not having to go back into it with a pencil. But you can see the lines crossing. Everything's pointing away from the tip of the finger. Now if I was to make this line cross here, it would screw everything up. And that's an important thing you need to understand, is how your lines are over crossing to give you the dimension you need. And we'll get a little bit of this bracelet in here. Now again, see how this line crosses over there, and then this circle crosses over that, and then as we go this way, the lines start to cross away from you. If I was to do that different, it would screw it up. It would look bad and odd. So you got to know your crossing lines, and it's easy. I'm just no big deal, but seeing how this moves with the contour, and as it goes away, it's gonna be different. These aren't just straight lines. I'm not just doing straight lines. Everything has a movement to it. To or from you, away from you, across, at a curve. And now let's get a little bit of the wrist tendons there. Get this in a little bit. See how to break up? That's not good. I'll use it though. Alright, let's do some hair. Let's get some weight up there. So we know it's going to be pretty dark, so I'll start flattening in. And where I might even be able to use that. So I'm just seeing what, you know, me slapping stuff on here gives me. Sometimes I got to go clean up, and then, you know, sometimes I'll just leave it. Like that line was fun, but I didn't plan it. These ones are kind of curling in. The hair is starting to bunch up against the body, so I'm kind of curling it onto the skin there. And then there's going to be highlights. So you got to be aware of some highlights. Like this stuff here, how this all collides into each other. I'm going to try to use as a highlight instead of trying to correct it into some smoothness. So we'll try to use that. And I think I was able to make it look okay. Well, I was away again. I see some stuff I want to clean up. But what we see is this big white line going through here because of the dashing and of the brush. So I have to fix this. I'll just blacken most of it out and see how that sits. And it works. Now the hard part, if there are highlights behind things, like you got to go around and still do the highlight, it's a pain in the butt. You might want to do whiteout instead of just playing with the ink. But I'm going to try to do some highlights be up against these bracelets. And just, I mean, it can be done, but I'm going to put little shadows on these while I'm right here. And I'll drop and flick, drop and flick. Put a shadow under this one, a little bit more beefier line. Okay, same here. Beefier line. Might be able to do just a little bit of a shadow there. Okay, we still got some hair in the highlight. Pull it up against that part of the arm. Now it's a lot of it's just filling. I'm wondering if I should keep that little white area. I'm going to let it sit for a while and see how it feels after I get some stuff done. It's not a bad little highlight. Now we can be a little bit more free form up here on this part of the hair. Try to get some excitement. Slap it down in there. And now I gotta see how it's coming across over here, and so gotta bring that in. That was awful. But I don't have to do. Fill in all this black. Now I could use some of these as highlights throughout the hair. We'll keep that nice white area in between there. Maybe some of that one. Still looks kind of chunky right here. I need to bring that out a little bit. Let's do some wispings around it to try to balance it out. Whatever. I don't like this part now. Let's pull some onto the cape here. Smooth that out. And holding the breath on that last long line. Now I'm just trying to work some kind of balance of weights against that stuff, against here with these. And as usual, it's a sketch, so I'm not killing myself over it. Okay. Let's spin the brush. Let's get right under here. Make this a nice delicate line. A little slap cut. Let's see if we can get something right here. Again, following contours. Following contours. Again, delicate lines for a woman. Belly button. Give a little bit of extra line work right there just to get a little play. Wait in, wait out. Okay, let's get to the important one, the titty line. This you try to make nice and soft. See that bump? I gotta fix that. Okay, let's do this part of the hair. Again, we start just throwing ink in here. Some people are a little bit more spontaneous than I am. They have looser wisps that will help them. I gotta just kind of go with the stiffness on my wrist. Is that ink? Bummer. I'm gonna have to put a bird there or something. And now I'm starting to think, well, there's going to be some highlights coming up, so I gotta start realizing that some of these lines are going to start breaking up. Now this hair is going to fall against this arm. Yeah, I'm starting to think highlights here, use them or not. Part of me was thinking that I might use this white area around her face to make it look like she's screaming, so it's almost like a sound effect, so I don't pull it all the way into her face. And it'll be just pretty much around the area of her mouth. So I'll leave that. Part of the practice here is how fast I can work and like slap it up against that line and still go, oh, all right, you got some control without having to like, oh, I gotta be right in there. You know, you're working fast, and how you can stop right up against that. Let's balance this out. And again, some people are a lot better at that than I am. But it's mine. I don't like this white area. I want more weight up in here. I don't like these. This is this is almost starting to look a little, as much as I like it, I'm not liking parts of that. I feel like I need to shut down some of this white. That's a little bit better, but say it with me, people. Better luck next time. Let's get this in here. This is probably going to be pretty much all black up in here. too flat, so I'm bringing some curls in there. This seems to bother me, this big long white line. Let's clean that up. I don't like the way these two are playing against each other. I don't like how close this is. Alright. Let's do some of this smoke. Again, you can do a nice, bouncy, playful line in the smoke. You can pull it, twist it. Make lines. Pull away. Thicken them. I want to get real thick one right there. Do a nice press. And if I want to keep it nice and light, and then press it into it. I mean, I don't usually do that kind of a line, but I figure what the hell, I can practice it right there. Let's see what I got. You gotta be careful about putting your fingers into wet ink, because all of a sudden you'll start finding spots, and either you white it out or you put something over it. And let's try to keep that real nice and clean. I'll curl this in a little bit. Another smoky line along the edge. Again, this is speed. You're trying to learn while you're doing it, making mistakes, and just letting yourself do lines without having to think about it. It'll help you later on. Chunk that monkey up. A little wisp. Chunk that monkey up. Flick it. We'll make another little curly thing right here. I'll set into the fire. There's little cinders popping up. And these are just smaller, thicker, but there's still a sense of balance. You'll look at it and go, okay, what do I got here? Does it feel nice? You know, is it okay? Sometimes you gotta add, sometimes you might have to subtract. But as a sketch, it's usually just add. Okay, now that there's a fire here, I gotta start thinking of how the light is playing off the skull in here. Even here, some of this, but the shadows are going down here, but this stuff's going to be coming up. And so these top parts will have a little bit more shadow on them. I'm not going to do them totally black because I want some reflected light play on these. Again, up there is going to be darker. Up here, dark. Even down here. And this gets lighter. As they get closer to the fire, they're going to start lightening up as they get darker as they're away from it. And as these ones are closer, I might get less textures unless it's flat up against it. Again, I'm thinking that the light's coming up, so these lines back here I'm going to try to make a little bit thicker as they pull away from the light. Not always, you know, a thing, but I'm thinking about it because I still have my style of slash and hack with the pen, so you'll get thicker lines where you're going, wait a second, that's light hitting it. It's like, oh, well, too bad. And again, that's style. It's not perfection. I'm getting some teeth in there, a little bounce. But you'll find that if you use the brush, which you should use, that it really has a beauty to it. See how I just cut into that and made it look a little bit more evil, a little bit more sinister, just putting that slash. Alright, now let's start putting in some shadowing, but you gotta be careful here. Because since I don't have any really drawn out, I gotta be careful that I don't put too much. This is where it's mostly gonna do. Now I have a couple different options I can do back in here. Let's see that line there? I'm going to make that the shadow of this thing. This cheek. So I'll shoot that out there. Now, let's do some top parts here. I'm not totally confident doing this, but we're going to see how it's going to look. Trying to think, do I want to go a crosshatch into it? I'm not sure. I know some people that are great at doing that, but mine might not be so great. So I might just leave it like this for the time being and see how it works. If I feel like I want to do some cross-hatching here later. And what I'm doing here is opening up this black. It's called the turning edge, with light and dark. Now the light hits a dark area, then starts to fade out again. I'll put a couple little texture lines. And that'll texture. Okay, these lines look like shit right here. But let's stop. I don't want to screw it up. Alright, now the light, it's going to be thinner down here on this edge, then thin, thick, then thin. Now I get here thick, 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 thin, thick, thin. I'm done with more thin and thick. See, with the brush, I was able to get 4 teeth in there now, where I was only talking 3 before. So I kind of corrected myself a little bit more balanced. Usually 4 in front's kind of cool. Alright, let's see if we can see, just slashing at this, getting more angles into this makes it look a little bit more sinister. Just a little bit. And now that this is away, this becomes a little bit more darker. And then I can bring in some reflected light here. I can leave the option of leaving that white for like an eyeball of some sort, or going in and blacking it maybe later, or put an eyeball in there. Okay, we're gonna have shadows over here. Again, you gotta be careful. I see that the nose is off center between the eyes, so I'll just move it over a little bit, fix that up, put a shadow there, shadow there. There's going to be a shadow on this edge. Yeah. Well, while we were away this time, I filled in some blacks, as you can see, around this, or you didn't have to watch me do that. There's a couple little balance things that I changed, but let's get back to the shadowing here. And the skull, bring it across, and bring this up, bring it along that edge. I'm thinking light's going to hit. All the time giving it a little bit texture. Pull that up across the nose shadow. Now what I'm thinking here is that there's shadow here, but the light's going to hit this edge just a little bit. I mean, it sort of works, but it's not great. I'm thinking of filling this now. Let's keep it where there's, fill it all in. Keep one shut, one open. And a little texture, little texture lines. And then just fill in a little smoke through this. Okay, let's see. Do we want to fill in the other eye black? We can leave it like that. Alright, let's get this shit done. I'm just throwing some good weight lines down to give like a nice hold, line holds, and weight right here. This gives it a little bit of texture. Get some jewelry action going there. Again, using the tip of the pen, not the brush. I mean, normally I would sit here and think lighting on this, like thicker away from the light again, but I don't have. It's a sketch. But knowing that you would think that's good, you know, knowing what you would do, and since that's a way, I'm kind of giving that a shadow. So right now, a lot of my thinking is in light play off of this. I'm going to change these up to make the shadow on the back and keep the openness in the front where there's light. And again, playing with the tip of the brush. Just nice little delicate ornamentation. And we get a little texture with squiggles, like carvings in on this. Just slashing it around and try not to make it muddy, but you know, uniform. It's not going to be perfect. It gives a nice little texture to it. And then what we're going to do is put a little shadow on that side. Jewelry, double jewelry. Just chunking this down. It's just an ornament of a sort. Kind of got away from me, but oh well. And I'll put a little folding action there so it's not just a line. And now I gotta go on this and make this even along here, so I gotta just kind of go off my own. And wherever these are. Gotta try to make it look even. This one a little higher, then we'll put one more just to balance it out. Bring in some nice slashing, longer slashing for the folds. And again, I'm not terribly concerned where I start and where I end. I mean, the pencil was there, which was good, but we'll give some shadow to these guys. I kind of made that look weird right there. It fades in to the light. No, I didn't finish that. Black there. Smooth that out. Let me do this real quick. The little ankle bracelet there. Don't really want to do the shadow. It's not natural, but I'm going to do it anyways. I mean, if the light is coming right here, there's really not going to be a shadow here, but I'm putting it anyways. Yeah, nice gluteus. You see that bounce? Ugly. Bending these around the ankle. A little bit of the knee. slightly off these creases, some hatch lines. Now we know that there's going to be shadow here. There's also going to be a shadow right here at the cloth. And this is going to go up on the skin. Well, hit the contour a little bit. Shoulder. Lat muscles. Rib cage, nice light lines. I see this hair right there, but where did that come from? Now we gotta make it come from somewhere. To do is fill in some black. Nice big fat juicy black line. See if we can get this to point a little bit. Oops. Now I'd never do this on a regular drawing, these long lines, but it's practice. Get that little hair highlight right there. Looks kind of cool. Almost home. See how that gets chunky right here? this out, and that might be it. Take a gander at it, make sure I didn't miss anything. Let's do a spin and break this stuff down to match. That doesn't look great, but gives it a little bit of a base. Let's smooth that out. Just smooth that little thing out. Yeah, highlight on these. Okay. Let's try to be careful with this ink. Let's put a little texture in here, a little cross hatch just to break this up. Again, the exercise is how fast and how close can I keep it within those lines. I went over in a couple, but mostly it was fair. Not bad. Well, I think we can erase this bad boy and see what we got. It's putting weight right in here where it needed it. Maybe just a little bit in there. Let's see, I missed some hair right here. That's her neck, yeah. Let's put some black in here. Let's put shadow here, so this thing has a little bit of a spacing between. Make sure that's there. All right. Okay, wait a second. Let's put the important parts. All right. Sign it, erase it, call it quits. There's some wet. I better be careful. I should be using a different eraser, but this is all I had. much it. Could use a little bit more erasing, but shows what's what. I could put a bird up there or something, but let's give it a shot. A couple birds flickering up there, cover that up. Birds. Oh no. More birds. I'll get rid of that. More birds. And there we go. First sketch. That's a little cleanup I'd probably do now that it's erased, but overall, where was that? It was on the hair part. You just chunk it in these whites. As you can see, there's little spots all over the place. Especially up here. Oh, see that? Bang, bang, bang. And see if we can just do a little bit more to this crappy hand. Voila. Grade-wise, that's about it. It's about a 6, 7, 6.5. It's not fabulous, but it works as a sketch. Her face turned out nice. There you go. Hope you guys enjoyed. Catch you next time when the magic happens one more time.